I'm going to either win 388 games or I'm going to win 389. Neither one of them throw me over the hump or nothing. Unless something happened to Joe today. Anything happened to Joe today?
Offense, control the line of scrimmage. Be dominant. Communicate up front. Dominate with our size and athleticism. Ain't no time now to worry about what the outcome is. Don't look at the scoreboard. One play at a time. From the first play to the last play.
Need a horn and a drum roll.
Never talk to them boys that sit on them benches. I never talk to them boys that sit on them benches. I was in the game on 4th and inches.
Now it's time to go to work. Season's over. A different time. I told you they remember November. But December's our time. December's we do what we do. That's Florida State time. We're back where we belong.
Let's get it on. Need a horn. Break it down. I never talk to them boys that sat on them benches. I was in the game on 4th and inches. Just change.
I'm going to either win 388 games or I'm going to win 389. Neither one of them throw me over the hump or nothing. Unless something happened to Joe today. Anything happened to Joe today?
Offense, control the line of scrimmage. Be dominant. Communicate up front. Dominate with our size and athleticism. Ain't no time now to worry about what the outcome is. Don't look at the scoreboard. One play at a time. From the first play to the last play.
Need a horn and a drum roll.
Never talk to them boys that sat on them benches. I never talk to them boys that sat on them benches. I was in the game on 4th and inches. Coach, 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 coach,
Now it's time to go to work. Season's over. A different time. I told you they remember November. Well, December's our time. December's we do what we do. That's Florida State time. We're back where we belong.
Let's get it on. Need a horn to break it down. Turn up, yeah!
I never talk to them boys that sat on them benches. I never talk to them boys that sat on them benches. I was in the game on 4th and inches.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are back in the studio. It feels good to be home. I don't know what feels better. I don't know if it feels better to be home. Does it feel better to be the number 5 team in the, what are we, 5 or 4? I don't know. Top 5 team in the country. Does it feel better that it don't matter which Tiger you're talking about, both Tigers are absolutely dead in the water. Well, one more than the other. We'll talk about that. I don't know what feels better, but I'm happy to be here. I'm happy y'all are here. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Share the video. Let everybody know we are live for the first time this year. Back home in the studio. We are live. You are on 863 Seminole TV. It is your boy POLK, a.k.a. Low, a.k.a. the goddamn truth. like, subscribe, share the video, my friends. It is episode 89, the first hangover of the season. And in case you ain't heard, there's no bigger story. Well, there may be one bigger story. That guy in Colorado, you can't front. You can't hate on that. You can't hate on that guy in Boulder. But there's no bigger story than that 45 piece that just got dropped on September the 3rd on what was the number 5 team in the country. And only for the next day, for the team that I spent a year telling you was the pinnacle of what FSU needed to. It was the main obstacle at FSU needed to climb over on their way to the climb. The main obstacle that needed to be climbed. And people in the chat were telling me, man. They was telling me. And I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. And I ain't scared to eat crow and say I was wrong. People in the chat was telling me, man, Duke is gonna get Clemson game 1. And I was like, nah, I think Clemson's better than we think they are. I think we overrating LSU, which I was right about that. And we underrating Clemson. I don't know so much about that. Labor Day, the Clemson Tigers lost to Duke, not in some last-minute Hail Mary. Not, flukes happen. Appalachian State, Michigan years ago happened. Auburn, Alabama, those type of games happen. Hell, Florida State, Jacksonville State, those type of games happen. Clemson got skull drug. 28-7. And in a blink of an eye, Florida State. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that game's still not important. I'm still not going to sit here and tell you that game won't be hard. But in a blink of an eye, this season, listen, folks, LSU down. Clemson, major chink in the armor, exposed. That game will still be tough come Death Valley, as that team will be fighting for whatever chance they have left at national relevance. They will be fighting for their lives on that game. That game will still be a tough game. But after what I just saw on 2 consecutive nights, Clemson might not have a shot to cover Johnny, Bell, and Wilson. Don't let us get the ground game started. But that's my intro, y'all, because I'm trying to tell you. On this episode, we're gonna talk about LSU, Florida State one more time. We're gonna move on to, I think we play Southern Miss this week, so we're gonna move on and we're gonna slightly preview Southern. Look, Southern Miss, they are 1-0. They might have a solid football team. We're going to preview that game a little bit. And we're going to talk some more Clemson and what that means for the ACC, what that means for the outlook of Florida State. And we might also need to talk about Duke. Now, y'all know me. Look, Duke is Duke. Florida State ain't never lost to them, and I don't plan on ever losing to them. But Duke, we're going to talk about that game and why Clemson, I think, lost. But before we do all of that, you know what we do before we dive into all the football talk and conversation. Let's hit this roll call real quick. Get in that chat. Hit that like button again. Share the video. Hit the like button. And we're going to get in this chat, do this roll call, and then we're gonna dive into what everybody wants to talk about today. And again, it is good to be back. So we will be having our normal, regularly scheduled program. Oh, I almost forgot. You see that naked helmet back there? Yeah, we're going to have to put some stickers on that helmet today. I don't know, Keon, Farmer, who could get a sticker? Y'all know the criteria for stickers. If you don't, let's run down that criteria real quick, and then we'll get to this roll call. You only get stickers are only available if Florida State wins. A win alone does not get a sticker. And from the looks of the way this season might be playing out, I might have to up the criteria a little bit. Just no ho-hum performances don't get stickers, man. You got to do something that we ain't seen before. Like, I don't know, 100 yards and 3 TDs or 5 total touchdowns. You got to do something that, blows my socks off. Let's get to it, man. Tyler Hedden in the building. Island Boy. Ben Callahan. Oh, by the way, Tyler Hedden, member of the 863 Tribe. Vontae B, member of the 863 Tribe. ML1219, member of the 863 Tribe. Eric Sutton. KCD, Jonathan McIntosh. Jeff, member of the 863 Tribe. Todd Pope in the building. Mr. Wolf, Timmy, Melly Mel, Marco, Know the Rules, LS Momo, Jay Adams, Born Legacy, Grill Master, T. Murray, Claudio, Raymond James, member of the tribe, Primetime, Richard Prite, Ice Cold No, Kane Zay. I think that Dark Knight Mentality. I think we hit everybody. Terrell Thomas, Black Shears in the building. Darren Hill, all in the building. By the way, man, like I always say, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to join and be a member of the tribe, by all means, do that. It's like super cheap, bro. I don't even think, it's like $1 or something. Like, super cheap if you want to become a member of the tribe. I actually got to get back in contact with my shirt maker, see if he's settled in. Because I owe my tribe members who have been tribe members for a while, I owe those young men or old men, I owe them that. So become a member of the tribe, man, is a way to support the channel. Super chats are a way to support the channel. But at the end of the day, the best way you can support me is hit that subscribe button and share the content. Continue to share the content. Peter Shields in the building. He's a member of the tribe. Jeffrey Bell and Briley in the building. Florida State, LSU. Florida State beats LSU 45-24. As far as I'm concerned, that score should say 45-17. That last touchdown doesn't count. Beat them by 28 points. Absolutely dominant second half by the Noles. And I don't want to say I saw it coming. I'm just saying I had a feeling. Let's look at these numbers real quick. Let's start with LSU, man. So Jaden Daniels, the much maligned Jalen Daniels, and if you listen to some of these LSU podcasters and the such, there's a lot of the stuff they were saying preseason they are now backtracking off of. But anyway, Jaden Daniels goes 22 for 37, 347. Again, take off that last 75-yard throw. I'm not very good at math. Matter of fact, I think my phone is over there charging. Where's my phone at? Somebody do 347 minus 75, because that is ultimately what he really threw. I'm not counting that last touchdown. And I really don't know where my phone disappeared to, which is absolute. There it is, right in front of me. That's what happens when your phone's black, your desk is black, your computer's black, everything's black. All black, everything means you can't find stuff. Let's do a quick thing on this calculator, because like I said, I ain't good at math to do that in my head. And you got 347 minus 75 as far as I'm concerned. Jaden Daniels threw for 272 yards. He ran for 64 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, no TDs on the ground. Just like last year, y'all. He was and is the offense. I said it when I previewed this game. It starts and stops with Jaden Daniels. If you contain him, you have done your job. You're good. You contain Jaden Daniels, the rest falls into place. Just like last year, they didn't have a running back worth a damn. Josh Williams leads the team in rushing, not named Jaden Daniels. 4 carries, 44 yards. Noah Kane got 4 carries and 4 yards and a touchdown. Trey Bradford got 4 carries and a yard and a touchdown. So outside of Jaden Daniels, they only decided to run the ball 12 times, which is kind of ridiculous. This goes back to the other point I had. Y'all people want to tell me Brian Kelly's a better coach than Norvell. And I kept saying more accomplished coach, sure. Better coach, I'm not so sure. Since FSU has upped the talent level here, and since Mike Norvell has upped the talent level here in Tallahassee, again, should have beat him year 2, but okay, it happened. Bad snap, pulls off out of kick range, all that good stuff. And since then, he's done nothing but beat Brian Kelly and beat him convincingly. I mean, last year's game, we know how that game ended, but we also know in the fourth quarter, it was, 24-10 at one point. He's handled Brian Kelly's Tigers fairly convincingly over the past 2 years. Brian Thomas lead the team in receivings with 7 receptions, 142 yards. Take 75 away from that, and that's how much that young man really had. And then the guy, the grand wizard of the wide receivers, Saint Malik Neighbors. I've heard about this Malik Neighbors dude for the last 2 years. I'm still waiting to see what all the hype is about. Malik Neighbors goes for six receptions, 67 yards. Trey Bradford had a reception for 55 yards. Mason Taylor, 4 for 39. A lot of people told me Mason Taylor was this beast at tight end. I'm going to show you a beast at tight end here in a second. Give me a minute. Kyron Lacey, 3 for 37. And Aaron Anderson, 1 for 7. One of the LSU podcasters, I think he works for 247, had the nerve before the game to say Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson wouldn't be LSU's number 1 or 2 receiver. Yeah, he said that, guys. Go look it up. He absolutely said that on camera in 4K, by the way. He said that asinine comment. And let's see, Omar Spates led LSU in tackles with 8. Once again, for 2 years straight, Florida State does not give up a sack. Thank the heavens for Alex Atkins. Yeah, Omar Spates. That other guy, man, that number 4 that they said was, and I think is an extremely talented player, don't get me wrong, but I mean, I heard all this stuff about Perkins, and then I'm still waiting to see him too. I'm still waiting to see him. That's LSU's tail of the tape. None too impressive, I must say, man. Hit the like button, subscribe, share. Let's move to Florida State. Jordan Travis goes 23 for 31, 342, 11 yards per attempt, 4 touchdowns, and a really knuckleheaded interception, but he made up for it. Deuce Spann, perfect quarterback rating, 1 for 1, 17 yards. Shout out to number 5, Deuce Spann. I don't know if he'll ever do anything as a receiver, but hey, if we're going to run those plays, let's use that former quarterback, Deuce Spann. And he's athletic enough that he can, make some things happen potentially with his legs. Hey, let's keep seeing that. But Jordan Travis, man, goes 4 touchdowns for over 300. I got to tell you, man, we talked about this a little bit in the offseason, where Jordan Travis can finish when it's all said and done. I believe Jordan Travis is already 3rd all-time in touchdown passes, if I'm not mistaken. I think he just recently passed Jameis. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong there. I think he's 3rd all-time in FSU in touchdown passes. Jordan Travis is going to put up those type of numbers almost every week this year, guys. Keon Coleman's the real deal. You pair that with Johnny Wilson, who teams already couldn't cover. That 1-2 punch is almost unguardable. He's going to have Jordan Travis. Prior to what I thought in the preseason, I didn't know Coleman was going to have this big. I knew Coleman was worth a win. If y'all remember, I said that. I didn't know. And obviously, right, Coleman's not going for 3 TDs every game. So let's not get crazy there. But just the fact that everything that's going to open up around it, Jordan Travis is going to throw for 300 plus in like 3 or 4 TDs. He's going to be in the thick of this Heisman thing. And some of those numbers that I didn't think he was going to reach, he may very well be a 4,000-yard passer. I mean, he also ran for 38 yards and a touchdown. So that's 5 total touchdowns. I mean, if we're in the 400-yard rushing area, I mean, let's round it up to 40. If he gets 40, again, some more elementary math here. You play 12 regular season games, correct? Yes, you play 12 regular season games. If he can just get 40 yards a game, you're talking 480 yards, almost 5. And obviously, you're talking about a guy that's going to throw for probably 4,000, rush for about 5, and it has a chance to have anywhere from 30 to 40 touchdown passes with another 10 on the ground. Jordan Travis is in the thick of this thing, man. Trey Benson with 12 carries, 3.9 yards per carry and 47 yards. It took a little while for us to get this running game going, but once we committed to it in the second half, they did exactly what I thought they should have been doing in the first half. It wasn't about gashing them for big runs. It was about getting the body blows in there and softening them up for everything over the top. And you see in that second half how that worked out. Trey Benson ran a lot better in the second half, finished with 47 yards. Rodney Hill, man, talk about making a statement by the third running back on the depth chart. Down. Matter of fact, shout out to Rodney Hill. You deserve one of these because you out there looking like a baby Greg Jones, my friend.
Go your motherfucking ass to sleep. Whoa, shit, what the fuck good buddy hit me with? I told him I wasn't sleepy. He had to have a brick.
Rodney Hill goes for 5 and 29, almost 6 yards a carry. Lawrence Toafili, 6 for 20. He did most of his damage through the air. We'll get there. Jaheim Bell also ran on a little like a reverse or sweep, not a reverse, but like a sweep. Those plays that they tried to do with Micah Pittman last year. Yeah, we actually got an athlete that can move in space. And he also ran over his guy at the end of that play. Shout out to Jaheim Bell. 1 rush, 4 yards, 1 touchdown. He had, 2 total touchdowns. Jaheim Bell, man. Receiving, Keon Coleman, 9 catches, 122 yards, 13.6 yards per catch, and 3 touchdowns with a long of 41. He just put college football on notice, and this is a guy who is going to contend for wide receiver 1 this year. Wholeheartedly believe that. Biletnikoff, all of that, he'll be in the running, and he's complimented by the best number 2 receiver in the country, Johnny Wilson, with 7 catches, 104 yards. If he doesn't have 2 crucial drops, you're talking about having more yards probably than Keon Coleman. No touchdowns on Johnny's end, but that's okay because he was the chain mover. He was the guy who you needed to make the big catches for third down conversions. Jaheim Bell goes for 2 catches, 49 yards, and a touchdown. Toafili goes for 2 catches, 49 yards. Should have had a touchdown, but I don't think I remember watching that play. I don't think Toafili knew Perkins was right there at the end. He kind of jogged into the end zone only to realize a little bit too late that Perkins was right there. Winston Wright goes for 1 catch and 18. Morlock had 2 for 10, and Benson had 1 for 7. No catches from the almighty Dustin Hill. He did have a target early in the game. That's okay. I'm sure they're going to find a way to mix Dustin Hill in the game plan going forward. We did see him out there. He was indeed in the game, and he did have a target early in the first quarter, I believe it was. Weapons galore, man. Weapons galore. Let's hit the defense real quick. Tatum Bethune led the game with 9 tackles. Jarian had 5 tackles, and Dent had 5 tackles. Ronaldo Green added 4 tackles and a 9 interception. Shaheem had half a sack. Shaheem played a solid game. Solid game. Good to see Shaheem. Lundy played one of the best games I've seen Lundy play, man. 4 tackles, and they say half a sack here, but I know he had another tackle for loss. No, actually, take that back. 3 tackles. I was reading the wrong stat line. 3 tackles, 1 sack, and 1.5 tackles for loss from Lundy. Joshua Farmer had 3 tackles and a sack and a tackle for loss. Farmer was a beast. It was so cool to see the growth from Joshua Farmer, going from a red shirt to last year. His first action was Louisville, where I personally thought he struggled mightily in that Louisville game, to being a solid rotation piece by the end of the year, to the way he just played here. See, Joshua Farmer might be the best interior D lineman on the team, even though I think Braden Fisk has something to say about that. Braden Fisk doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but go watch that tape. Braden Fisk was disrupting and a disruptor all game. He had a hell of a game himself. Deloach had a sack or half a sack. Briggs had a sack. Verse finishes with no sack, but of course, I think they stole a sack from him in that game. Sack and a forced fumble, by the way. But Verse impact as well was felt. And we already talked about Braden Fisk, whose impact was felt the whole game, in my opinion. And your main man, Fitzgerald, had a 1-for-1 on the field goals, long of 33, and 6 for 6 on extra points. So that's a perfect game from Ryan Fitzgerald. And I'm not going to – look, Alex Mastromano, he had a good – man averaged 46 yards a punt and 1 punt inside the 20. That's a good game from your punter, man. FSU was clicking on all cylinders, folks. FSU was clicking on all cylinders in this game. Let's get to the comment section. Y'all know I ain't paid too much attention to the comment section right now. Let's get to the comments, see exactly what y'all are talking about, as we just did the tail of the tape from that whooping of the LSU Tigers. Let's see, where do we start? Let's start with Darren Hill's got a big comment here. Let's start with this one. Darren says, apparently LSU O-line was telling our D-line that we was really good up front. Farmer said we knew it was over after that. Yes, I saw that interview with Joshua Farmer today. Anybody who's competed in anything knows you don't tell your opponent that you, even if you are admiring what your opponent is doing, you don't let him know. It's all a psychological game. In the moment that LSU O-lineman says that, if we are to believe the story, which I don't see why Farmer would lie about it, FSU D-line knew they had him. FSU's defense knew they had him. Is JT only behind Winky? I thought he was number 3. Isn't JT has 74, needs 82 to go ahead of Winky. Man, we talked about that, man. It's going to be an interesting season. I told y'all, man. Jordan Travis could finish this thing. You know, people don't like when I say he's already surpassed EJ in my eyes, but y'all know how I feel about EJ. Great commentary, though. I love what he does on the ACC network, even though the ACC network is garbage. I love EJ Manuel on that. EJ Manuel, as far as the FSU quarterback, left a little bit to be desired. Jordan Travis is going to have a chance to finish, in that Jameis Winston, Charlie Ward conversation. It's going to be – we'll see, man. We'll see. R.I.P. to your Uncle Fred, man. Sorry to hear that. He loved the right team. I'll just say that, though, Kamesay. Condolences. What's up, Chad Kinsler? Corey Hall's in the building. Let's see. I'm not reading every comment. I'm just skimming through. Johnny's stride is so long, he just eats up space. Agreed. Then the instant the DB tries to keep Johnny from getting in on their toes, Johnny breaks it off. It makes moving the chains so much easier. Man, it's crazy because Kentron, Winston, and Biscuit didn't get much of any playing time, and they're no slouch. We beat Clemson with them playing and sit Coleman. We can beat Clemson with them playing and sit Coleman and Wilson. I didn't realize how good our D tackles would be. I thought we'd be good at the top, but it's so much deeper than expected. EJ was soft. Appreciate that. Hit that like button. Pretty no girl, good to see you. She says, I was at FSU when EJ played, and JT is miles ahead of him. If JT wins the Heisman and wins the fourth chip, he's top 3. I mean, top 4. Of course he's top 4, right? Of course he's going to end up being top 4 if he wins the Heisman, because that just puts him in that category. And wins a chip. I mean, I'm not talking about a top 4. I'm talking about a top 3. I think he bumped someone out of the top 3, but of course he's top 4. Fisk was dominating, man. Fisk was dominating. So, with all that said, we just went over the tail of the tape. What you don't see in the tail of the tape is the O-line. I want to talk a little bit about that O-line, man. Interesting developments along the O-line. But, again, if you listen to 863, some of this stuff isn't surprising. Some of it will be. Robert Scott got the start to start the game. I don't know if Robert Scott gets hurt in this game. I'm not 100% sure. Did they just decide to take him out? I want to say about start of the second quarter. From then on, Bless Harris was your starting left tackle, and he received ACC Player of the Week award. Bless Harris is who we said he was coming out of spring, folks. So, which is why I was shocked when he just wasn't a flat-out starter. I was shocked when he just wasn't the starter at left tackle for me. I didn't understand it. I said, you put Bless Harris at left, you move Robert Scott to right. Bless Harris finished that game at left tackle, and again, he earned ACC Player of the Week. One of the 3 players on Florida State that got ACC mentions. Coleman, of course. I forget who all it was. I think it was Coleman. I think it was Coleman, Farmer, and Scott, but I'm not 100% sure. Scott got not Scott. I'm sorry, Bless Harris. Bless Harris should be your starting left tackle from here on out. Bless Harris is a really good football player that I think a lot of us have underestimated. At one point, I myself underestimated Bless Harris. That brings me to Robert Scott, and not that Robert Scott isn't a good player. He's got to. I think he's got to be hurt. It makes no sense because it's not like Scott played bad while he was in there, right? Scott just got pulled at one point, which he had to tweak something, hurt something. I wish Scott was healthy because, look, I think Byers settled down in the game. To be fair to Jeremiah Byers, now a lot of that has to do with you're up by a lot. LSU's kind of hit the quit button. You know, they're not really as engaged as they were earlier. So nobody's going 100 miles an hour in Byers. But I do think Byers settled in later on. But in that first half, man, Byers was getting that same work that I saw Byron Turner giving this guy in the spring was the same work he was getting in LSU. I didn't like it. I did not like it. Again, Byers did settle down. Eventually, Tyler hit it. Darius comes in, and you get some better playing from that side of the ball. Byers, they're going to have to keep working that. Again, I wouldn't mind to see Byers maybe move to the inside a little bit there. But I'm going to tell you the story, one of the major stories, and this came from the guy that I told y'all was the most physically gifted O-lineman on this team, and everybody kept telling me his Byers. Keandre Jones, when he got in there at guard, Eliminated Wingo from the equation. Roddick played a solid game, but when they put Keandre Jones, and he pretty much played the entire second half, is when Wingo's name was no longer being mentioned. Because Wingo was killing us in that first half. Keandre Jones, the adjustments and the movement we made in the second half of just along the O-line in general, with adding the experience of Darius and Keandre. Bro, I told y'all about Keandre the whole time. He just got to put it together, but he is a guy. He is one of those guys. FSU's got nothing but grown men along the offensive line. I don't know if we have any first. I don't think so. Here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about the Florida State O-line. Here's the funny thing. I don't know if there's a first-round guy here. Not too sure there's a first-round guy on this O-line. There's not a Cam Irving or a Trey Jackson. But what you have is a bunch of 4 and 5 and 6 year players that's been in college, a bunch of grown men that are experienced and have a lot of snaps and know how to play along that O-line. There are 2, maybe 3 wild cards along that O-line. When I say wild cards, meaning draftable guys, Bless Harris might work his way into something. He's got the size. Like, Bless is really damn good. And the more I watch Bless, the more I'm saying, okay, we might not only have a good college O-lineman, he might be something. Keep telling y'all, Keandre Jones, he gets it together. He's one of the better guards in the country and can get that same kind of draftable type talk. And then Byers does have tools. He'd be the third guy that I would go, has tools. It's just a matter of finding where he fits. Not sure tackles where he fits. It's just a matter of keep continuing to coach Jeremiah Byers. But he definitely has tools. But those are really the only 3 guys that I would go, okay, NFL teams would really look at those guys. But regardless, what is Demetrius Emmanuel's in his 7th year of college, bro? Casey Roddick is a 5th or 6th year. We know Robert Scott's been here since day one of the Mike Norvell tenure. We just got a bunch of experience. Darius Washington was here when Taggart was here. Bro, we just got a bunch of guys. We got a bunch of guys with a bunch of snaps who's being developed correctly. We good. O-line for 2 straight years didn't give up a sack against LSU. You got to give credit where credit is due. We said before the beginning of the season, this O-line would be one of the better ones. They did not disappoint along the front. Robert said, what up, Polk? I was at the game Sunday. It was atmosphere like no other. It was fun seeing the LSU fans mad and wanting to fight each other. I heard there was a bunch of fights in the stands. I did hear there was some fights in the stands. Tyler is correct. The game plan was to get Washington, Bless, and Jones in the game. Not sure if it was going to change up at halftime, but it worked. Didn't hear Wingo anymore. Can't forget Bell, double back tight end. That was massive too. Morlock played a lot more than I expected. That's true. I think Morlock did play a little bit more. We didn't see as much as Biscuit as I think maybe some of us thought. KJ earned a starting spot. I don't disagree with you, man. I love Meach. I love the fact that Meach came back. But Keandre, I keep calling Keandre. Yeah, Keandre Jones. He just built different. I mean, to all respect to Big Meach. Big Meach is 6'2", 305. Keandre is a massive human being. We'll talk about that next. Let me get a couple more of these comments, and we'll move on to the defense and talk about the difference between the halves on the defensive side of the ball. Bless earned the starting spot. Should have never even been a question as far as I'm concerned. To be honest, we have an O-line coach that knows how to coach these kids up. Absolutely we do. Atkins out here playing depth chart chess, hunting for preferable trench matchups. It's like a freaking basketball roster. There isn't a lot of NFL talent on the O-line, if any, but they are being coached and used properly. Hasn't been the case in recent years. That gave me 2013 vibes when y'all went up to Clemson. And well, we got to do that again this year. Speaking of Clemson, but we're gonna get on to them a little later. More mental mistakes early on than the 2013 game. I watched JT put Harold Perkins in a blender. Man, yeah, Roddick. So Roddick got a nice shot on. That's because they were trying to spy Perkins and or spy Travis with Perkins, and nice little crackback by your boy Casey Roddick. Appreciate it. Finally home, man. Finally home. Did Hakeem? Yes, Hakeem. What an A. But yes, Akeem Dent did play. And he what? Look, I already spoke on it. Akeem Dent had he was third on the team in tackles. He had 5 tackles. Akeem Dent played a solid game, but we're gonna get to the defense here in a second. What's up, Terrence? Terrence in the building. They should be fired. They should absolutely be fired. Let's get to the defensive side of the ball, man. First half, second half. I don't know. What's up, Marcus Juice Wilder? I don't know if any real adjustments were made. I would have to really know, like, I would have to hear, because this is my opinion. When I watched the defense from the first and second half, I don't know if any real adjustments were made. I just thought they calmed down a little bit. LSU's O-line played better than last year, but it still wasn't good enough. They played along the edges a little better than last year. Pat couldn't get him a sack. But Pat Payton was able to influence a lot of plays because of his length, man. Verse, I won't say Verse was held in check, but, Verse was they were able to block him a little bit, even though, again, I think he got robbed of a strip sack, but it's okay. The linebackers, in my opinion, played well. I thought the safety play was better than I expected. We had a couple instances that, where LSU dropped some balls, but hell, Florida State dropped some balls. So, we can play both. We can play that game on both sides. I don't know if any real adjustments was made. I just thought the defense settled down in the second half. Ronaldo Green is a dude. I don't know where he fits in the whole NFL draft thing. And he might not be. Ronaldo Green might be this year's Jamie Robinson in the sense of, I don't know how Ronaldo translates to the league, if I'm being honest with you. I don't know what, I don't necessarily think Ronaldo's like, a top tier corner coming into the draft. What I do know is that he's a damn good college corner. And as the other corners continue to grow, Cypress, I heard people were dogging Fentrell Cypress. I don't know what game they were watching. Fentrell Cypress played a solid football game. He can get better, but he played a solid football game. AZ will continue to grow. I just thought, again, no real adjustments, in my opinion, were made. Maybe if somebody in the chat, if you saw something different, please feel free to speak on it. I don't think any adjustments were made. I just think the boys settled down and the defensive line just continued to wear them out. And by the second half, we didn't have to get pressure off the edge because, again, Fisk, Farmer, Briggs, they were just able to go directly up the middle and eat. You didn't need all the edge rushing. What's the fastest point? What's the fastest way to any point? A straight line. Right up the middle is the fastest way to get to the quarterback. And that's what we were able to do. That's what we were able to do. The defensive line is able to dominate the way it was able to dominate in the middle. Linebackers, all of a sudden, they play extremely well. It makes it a lot easier for your secondary players as well. Again, I don't think any real adjustments were made. I just think they played better and settled down and what was probably a very adrenaline-filled first half, obviously. And I got to give credit to LSU in that first half. That's some great – that call on that first drive with LSU where they snuck the running back out of the backfield and played to the numbers and got everybody on one side and snuck the run. That was a beautiful play on that first drive by LSU. That run, that pass went for like 50 yards. They didn't score because that defense manned up. But I thought that was a beautiful play call. The LSU called a better game in the first half, if I want to be honest as well. I thought LSU called a better football game, though they still had their mistakes in the red zone. I thought they called a better game in the first half. I don't know what Brian Kelly was calling in the second half. But then again, you got to give credit to the D-line of disrupting most of the stuff they wanted to do. And Gilbert Edmond also did play the run very well. Let's get to the comment section. The best part is that all these guys getting all this burn, sharing reps, being selfish, and all talk coming out of the more is positive. No jealousy, doing what we're doing. The game plan seemed to be not giving up the deep stuff, and they allowed a lot of short stuff. Problem is, early on, they missed. They did miss. We did clean up the tackle. That's a good point from Dark Knight. They cleaned up the tackles better. I agree with that. We had a lot of missed tackles in the first half. We cleaned that up in the second half. Pat did have a pass block. He did. Briggs did his thing. Corey says no adjustments were made. They played cover full quarters and man coverage. First play of the game. We're in the hell was the linebackers on the running back. Nice little misdirection from LSU on that play call. Again, I thought that was a good play call from LSU. Definitely some coverage miscommunication by the backers. But they played to the numbers, got everybody on one side, snuck the backer out there. I thought that was perfect. I thought that was a good play call. We played a lot of man in this game. Brower, got to consider the game plan, containment as well. The ends were rushing with control over aggression. Other games with less dangerous QB legs will likely be another story. Cypress was on Neighbors for a lot of the game. I would say Cypress was probably on Neighbors for most of the game. Yeah. I don't necessarily – I have to go back and actually watch, but it seemed like Cypress was on Neighbors for most of the game. Everybody should rewatch the game and just watch Fisk. I tried it again. You go and listen to 863 Seminole TV. Told y'all Braden Fisk was my transfer, and that's even with Keon Coleman, who we can sit here and we can talk about Keon Coleman for the next hour if we wanted to. But Fisk is a guy. Cypress seems to be good in the zone. I thought Cypress did fine. Malcolm Ray got some burn. He absolutely did. I do like Jaron in the nickel. He plays better in the nickel. Jaron in the nickel, less chances of him being exposed on the outside. I like him in the nickel too, though. I know I give Jaron a hard time, but do I think we have the best wide receiver group in college ball? Maurice, name a better one. That's the only one I can think of. And I tell you this, the fact that Ohio State's quarterback isn't Jordan Travis, I think the addition of Jordan Travis and you add it to Keon and Johnny, and then we ain't even talked about some of these guys like Winston Wright eventually getting more involved. You get Ja'Kai Douglas back eventually. I think FSU's going to have the better receivers. Dennis Briggs dragging down JD. Yep. Shout out to Briggs. The D-line, man, just showed up and showed out. So as we review this LSU game and we close the chapter on LSU because we're going to move forward to Southern Miss is who we play, right? We're going to move forward to that. But as let's close the chapter, let's close the book on this LSU team and just this game, a game that which we put the college football world on notice. We let the hype was real. We spent all offseason hyping it. I'm guilty of it. Most of the FSU, whether you're a media member or a content creator, you're guilty of hyping it. But the hype was warranted. The hype was real. I told y'all, if you're scared, go to church. We got a team. We got a real squad. We got a real squad this year. And I'm stuck because I'm trying to figure out how to close this one out on LSU. But again, I ain't got to sit here and say I told you so, but I told you so. LSU wasn't the team. LSU's more than the teams that I thought they were. They didn't get much better from last year. Told you that. I didn't see that drastic of improvement from last year to this year that had all the LSU number 5 team. I didn't see it. So when I told you, I think FSU can not only win this game, but win it handily. To me, that game was just what I thought. And with that said, the game's over. It's done. That's a nice trump card to have in case you are to drop a game. Though I don't know if it looks like, we're going to find out this weekend about some teams. I'm very interested to see how Miami plays A&M. I plan on going to November 11th. I plan on being in Tallahassee November 11th, by the way. That's about 90% done as of today. So expect to see me in Tallahassee November 11th. I hope that's a game. I hope Miami fulfills their end of the bargain. I would love for that to be a game. I'm interested to see what Texas A&M and Miami looks like. Other than that, Florida's a dumpster fire. Clemson, we're going to talk about Clemson later on in this show. The stars have aligned, man, for this to be a season that FSU can take full advantage of. Not just because the schedule seems to be softer than we initially thought, but this team is as talented as any team in the country. That's not me blowing smoke. That's not exaggerations. That is that defensive line and that receiving group alone. Not too many teams can match up with that point blank period. I just watched what's the best O-line in the country? Maybe Georgia, or at least they've recruited that way. I just saw Georgia's O-line struggle with Tennessee, UT Martin or whoever that was. What do you think FSU's D-line can do with that? Will they get better? They'll get better throughout the season. I'm sure they will. The point is, to wrap this whole weekend up as far as LSU goes, that was just the first step in what we anticipate to be a year-long thing with us. Not a one game, not let's see how they do on this 3-game stretch to see if we're for real. No, we know we're for real now. And now we are on the way to that Final Four, I believe. That's what I believe. Let's look at Southern Miss. We're not going to waste too much time on the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. I will give a little bit of respect to the team because they're 1-0. It's another primetime game. I don't know why they didn't make this game like a noon game, honestly. I wish we could have watched this game and get it over with. But instead, it's I think it's 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 my time. So it's a primetime game. The Southern Miss Golden Eagles, they did win against Alcorn State 40-14 for whatever that's worth. Frank Gore Jr. plays for that team, but he didn't really lead the team in any statistical categories. They got a quarterback named Billy Wiles, who threw 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. He was 21 for 28 for 267 for whatever that's worth. Frank Gore Jr. had a touchdown, but he had only 6 carries. Rodriguez Clark had 9 carries for 54 yards. Look. They had a receiver that had over 100 yards and a touchdown, and Jacarius Caston. Look, I'm not going to waste a bunch of time on these guys. Solid little group of 5 team here comes Southern Miss. Yeah, y'all already know the deal. Pick the score as far as I'm concerned. Pick the score. Pick the score. Florida State, we just put 45 on LSU. We should be some 45 plus. No, and that's no disrespect to the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. That's no disrespect. Built for playmakers in the building. But pick the score here. Pick the score. We don't see a real opponent because if you don't know, Boston College decided they're going to lose to, I think it was Northern Illinois. Yeah, Boston College decided in game 1 they're going to lose to Northern Illinois. So we don't face a real opponent until that 4th game of the season, like we thought, against Clemson. So pick the score against Southern Miss. That doesn't mean you fall asleep. But pick the score. Pick the score against those 2 next opponents. Not going to spend a bunch of time on Southern Miss. Somebody said 63-6. Like my man said, pick the score. Oddly enough, that JSU's loss a few years ago makes me not sweat these games anymore. I agree with that. The beautiful thing about the Southern Miss game, man, we should see who knows? We could see Brock Glenn maybe in this game. We should be able to see Julian Armellas and the Jalen Earlys. We should maybe Simmons we get to see in this game. Keziah Holmes should get some carries. We should be able to see that. We should be able to see some of our guys that we're kind of excited to see. Destin Hill, Goldie Lawrence, Vandrevius Jacobs. We should be able to see maybe some of Hakeem Williams, who, by the way, shout out to Hakeem Williams. He actually was playing against LSU and blocking. Doing a good job there from number 8. So as far as I'm concerned, we in this game expect to see a lot of those type of players. This game should be over. This game should be over by half. And then we'll just go from there. Edwin Joseph, Kirkland, Hussey. Yeah, we should be able to see a lot of those young guys that we are excited about. They should get some burn in this game. And probably the Boston College game too. Now you got to keep everybody sharp for Clemson, but you also got to keep everybody healthy for Clemson. So again, we're not going to waste too much time here. Because speaking of Clemson, Clemson low-key pissed me off this weekend. Because Florida State had an opportunity. First of all, that was going to be a college game day for sure. Top 10 matchup. I don't know, you beat Duke, Clemson top something. And to not only lose, but to lose 28-7. I don't know. And my kids just walked in here. So, yeah. I don't know. I'm looking at the box. I gotta get my thoughts together. Don't rob me. Let's look at the box score from Clemson.
Wait, be quiet.
Hi, Daddy.
Hey.
Oh, I bet you're not lying.
I am.
Don't
Laser's gonna whop you.
So give me a minute, and I got you.
I love you.
All right, let's look at. Hold on, Adrian. Let's look at the box score real quick, as the kids greet me from coming home, from getting off the bus. K. Klubnik threw 43 passes for 209 yards. That's under 5 yards a completion. That is QBR 27.9. That is god awful. Shipley is what Shipley is. Shipley is the guy that I've said he is. The offense lives and dies through Shipley. 17 carries, 114, almost 7 yards per carry. I mean, Will Shipley is Will Shipley, guys. The problem is they got nothing outside of Will Shipley, though Phil Maffa looks like he's a nice complimentary back there. Shipley also had a receiving touchdown. Like they had Bo Collins, 5 catches, 50 yards. Antonio Williams, 7 catches, 50. Like, this is Duke. And Elko is a great coach, in my opinion, and a really good defensive mind. But, man, it's Duke. It's Duke. It's Duke. It's Duke. And I am sitting here saying to myself, it's one thing to lose to Duke in a close game season opener, but to have Duke roll you, to have Riley Leonard run for almost 100 yards, what? You're talking about Clemson team that's supposed to have the best linebacker duo, if not in the country, definitely in the ACC. Yeah, there's no way that's the case if Riley Leonard's running for 8 carries and 98 yards. And I know Riley Leonard's a good quarterback, don't get me wrong. They also added an extra Jaquez Moore, 43 yards on 8 carries. Jordan Waters, 63 yards on 11 carries. The team ran for 200 yards on what is supposed to be one of the better defenses. I'm not here to sit here and tell you that Clemson's going to be a cakewalk when we come in there and play that team, y'all. That's not what I'm saying. I'm raising terrible burglars because they gave themselves away. I'm not sitting here trying to tell you that Clemson's going to be a cakewalk because they're going to be on survival mode, right? They're going to be they are going that game in Death Valley, which will still be a primetime game most likely. Top 5 team in the country, Florida State comes into town. They're going to be up. They're going to be pumped. They're going to be ready for that game because that's their season. You lose to Florida State, and that's your season. There's no ACC championship most likely if you use that game because now you done drop 2 ACC games, and there definitely no playoff for Clemson. So Clemson needs that game. They will play like they need that game. But I'm looking at what I watched. A very you want to talk about bad football? Florida played the worst football I'd seen in week 1. Florida played terrible football. Clemson wasn't that far off, folks. Clemson played a bad, terribly executed football game. And when a team plays like that, I don't believe that's just something that you fix in 2 games. I don't think Klubnik and the fumbles and all just the terrible execution is something that just clicks in 2 games. And that's what it's going to take to beat Florida State. Keon's going to go up there, Jordan Travis, Trey Benson, we're going to go up there and we're going to have a game. It's crazy for me to say this. And y'all tell me if I'm crazy for saying this. Clemson did not look that much better than the Florida Gators. And most people, if not all people in this chat will agree, Florida Gators look like one of the worst football teams in the country. From execution, all of that. From being a properly coached football team, the Gators look bad. Clemson don't look that far off. Clemson does not look that far off. Clemson looked like a poorly coached football team. And I have to ask myself and you guys and all of the internet, was this a one-off? Am I to believe that this is a one-off for the Clemson Tigers and that Clemson just had a very bad game on the road at Duke? Elko thoroughly outcoached Dabo Swinney. Garrett Riley, he's not his brother. He's not his brother. That's all I can say there. So for me, I'm not calling Clemson a win right now. And if you remember before the season, I actually picked us losing to Clemson in the regular season and getting our payback in the ACC championship game. So I'm not calling Clemson a guaranteed win at this point. But I am calling whatever I thought was going to happen, I no longer think is going to happen in that game. I still think Clemson comes out there and plays. But now I don't know. I don't think I see a path that they can win. Matthew says, "Pokes, all the trolling from what they got to troll on." It's funny how that works. You can't troll on 45-17, which, yes, I still say 45-17 because I don't count that last touchdown by the Tigers. You can't troll on 45 points on number 5 team in the country, especially if you're a Gator fan. In Miami, bro, you played Miami over Ohio. You did what you're supposed to. Come back after Texas A&M and talk to me, and then maybe I'll welcome Miami to the big boy table if you can finally beat Texas A&M. Did Norvell have a worse game in his second year than what Florida displayed against Utah? I mean, that Jacksonville State game. I mean, that's a great question. Utah's obviously a what? Utah's a top 15 team, right? Yeah, I think Utah's a top 15 team. So I guess you would say Jacksonville State, they weren't a top anything team. Yeah, sure. But I don't know if did Billy have to rebuild a roster? Florida fans would say they did, but if I actually go check, Mullen left Billy a little bit to play with down there. They have 3 weeks. I see something that's being cleaned up, but it won't be enough to stop us. McNeese coming. McNeese, that can't happen. There's no way that's happened. Travis Hunter is special. But yeah, man, as we just look at Clemson, I am shocked. I'm shocked that I'm shocked that Clemson looked like that. I thought we were underrating Clemson. I thought a lot of people thought this would happen to Clemson, and I was on the other side. I was like, we sleeping on Clemson. I think Clemson's going to come into this season and be motivated to get back. And then to come out like that tells me that they've got some more deep-seated issues. I mean, I saw the clip where Klubnik's coming off. I think it was Klubnik. One of the players, he's coming off the field, and Dabo's. And this could be nothing. We could be just making more of it than what it is. But Dabo's waiting for him, trying to high-five him, and Klubnik just walks right past. I don't know, man. It seems like there might be some disconnect there going on in Clemson, South Carolina. Again, it could be nothing, or it could be a little bit of something, man. I don't know. But I'm surprised I am surprised the way that team looked. If you would have told me Duke beat Clemson in some type of barn burner, then I might have believed that. If you would have told me that Duke beat Clemson in a close defensive struggle, especially with Elko as your head coach, I might have believed that. 28-7, I would have said, yeah, okay, Duke. beating Clemson 28-7, not going to happen. That's exactly what happened. Fatal Jedi says, leave no doubt, crush all opponents. FSU is by far the absolute best team in the ACC. M. Roar says, if we beat Clemson, we are expecting UNC or Louisville's still there until Louisville. Remember, Louisville dodges us and Clemson. Now, I don't know. It's Clemson segment. But Louisville dodges like the preseason two best teams in the ACC. Or regardless of what's happening with Clemson, they are still one of, if not the most talented team from a number standpoint in the ACC. So Louisville dodges those two games. They do play Miami. And does Louisville play? Let me see. I don't know if Louisville played. I think Louisville, there's no way they dodge us, Clemson, and UNC. So Louisville probably plays North Carolina. They have to play North Carolina, right? Bro, Louisville doesn't play North Carolina either. I'm looking at their schedule right now. It's Murray State, Indiana, Boston College, NC State, who looks god-awful. We know Boston College looks god-awful. They play Notre Dame, but that game doesn't matter in terms of ACC play. Pitt, they do play Duke, so that would be a tough one for them. Virginia Tech, Virginia, Miami. They dodge Florida State, North Carolina, and Clemson. Louisville has a clear path to the ACC championship game. And I agree, they should have lost to Georgia Tech, but they didn't. That's the issue. Louisville has a path. Clemson's offense looked inept. Louisville should have lost. Yeah. They played Duke. They do play Duke in that game now. All of a sudden, for us, right? That Duke game looks a little bit more like okay, right? That Duke game's a little bit more. I believe that's homecoming too. I believe Duke is. I think Duke is homecoming. So that's even more reason to. I believe I will blow them boys out. But that is a game to keep an eye on. We can't go up to BC and man, listen, we blowing that out just like we did last year. I ain't worried about that. I ain't worried about none of that. So that is today's show. That's really LSU. We did the whole rundown on that. Little preview of Southern Miss. And I really want to talk Clemson because Clemson just whatever you thought about ACC play, Clemson just blew it up. And Florida State is here. Clemson's lucky that they don't have to come to Tallahassee this year. That's the only thing I think saving Clemson. And, of course, Duke, and you still have the rivals of Miami and Florida. But FSU's got just like I said, Louisville's got a path, man. FSU's got a pretty solid path as well to Charlotte and beyond with the way this thing seems to be playing out. So that's all the topics. But, of course, we still got to do our players, our helmet stickers, and then we're gonna reverse back to LSU, and we gotta give our grades. I forgot we gotta give our grades, so we're gonna do that right now. We're gonna give our grades. We're gonna put the stickers on the helmet, and all that good stuff. So let's get this helmet. All right, let's do this. First of all, I had to think, okay, how many stickers do I put on the helmet today? Right, so at a minimum, 2, but I'm thinking 3. I'm thinking 3. But as always, I usually let y'all pick. 6. I'm not putting 6. No, we're not putting 6 stickers on there. We're going to do 3, and I'm going to let y'all pick the 3. And I'm going to make them hard. So everybody, first sticker, tough one. I think I know where y'all are going to lean. Jordan Travis, Keon Coleman. Does Keon in his first game get the first sticker of the season? Or does Jordan Travis's 5 touchdowns deserve the sticker? What do y'all think? Keon or Jordan? I'm going to put it on here. Matter of fact, we're going to start from the rear. We'll start here. It doesn't really matter, huh? But both of them can't get a sticker. I got 1 vote for JT. I got 2 votes for Keon. These are game stickers, John Shields. Don't hate. You might want to focus on Texas A&M, bro. Both can't get one. That's the tough decisions got to be made, folks. So both can't get one. So I got 3 for Keon, 1 for JT. Got another 1 for Keon. Looks like Keon's gonna get the nod here. Got 2 for JT. Nope, pretty girl, both ain't getting them. Just 1. Sorry. Tough decisions here. I'll wait a little longer to see if maybe Travis gets some other votes. I'm with you though. If it was me, my personal decision is Jordan Travis. Because 5 touchdowns. Like, it's Jordan Travis, but I get it. I get why Keon is the popular guy, as he should be. Okay, so we're going to stick with Keon. We're going to stick with Keon. Sticker number 2. Another tough one. Jaheim Bell. Now all the late J Trav votes want to come in. Nope. Keon gets it. We're sticking with Keon. Jaheim Bell. Tough one now. Jaheim Bell or Joshua Farmer? Jaheim Bell or Joshua Farmer? Who you giving it to? Jaheim Bell or Joshua Farmer? Jaheim Bell had 2 total touchdowns. Farmer was a monster in that defensive line. Jaheim Bell or Joshua Farmer? I got Farmer 1, Bell 2, Farmer 2, Bell 3, Bell 4, Bell 5. Like Jaheim Bell pulling away. Bell 6, Farmer. I think that's 3 for Farmer, 4 for Farmer. Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4 for Farmer. 5 for 1. Y'all voting heavy on this one. Okay, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 for Bell, 10 for Bell, 11. Okay, looks like Bell's gonna pull away. That was close for 1 second. But Jaheim Bell's gonna get the nod over Joshua Farmer. Again, I thought that was a tough one myself. Because Farmer was a beast. And this is the last one. Another tough one. Both of these players. Stats don't show up on the stat sheet, but the impact was huge. I knew Bless Harris, who is who I thought he was. So I'm not including Bless Harris here. But I told y'all, Keandre Jones took Wingo out of the game in that second half. You didn't hear Wingo's name not one more when Keandre got in there. And Braden Fisk, for all that Joshua Farmer was able to do, and Dennis Briggs and some of these other guys, a lot of that had to do with the fact that Fisk was an absolute menace all game. Last sticker goes to either KJ or Braden Fisk. You in the chat decide. Space these out a little bit more. There we go. Gotta give the defense love. Fisk. Hey, Fisk. The chat loves you, Fisk. And I don't disagree with him, even though I think KJ makes it a tough call because I think KJ was an absolute beast in that second half. But Fisk was a beast all game long. It's unanimous, man. Actually, I think Tyler did vote KJ, but it is almost unanimous, man. Fisk gets the nod. And I can't disagree with, that, man. And that's something else I didn't mention. I'm with you, I'm with you. KJ was good, man. I'm with you, but I can't get mad at Fisk. Daniels had no business jump. First of all, they tell you don't leave your feet. Don't leave your feet. And I didn't like the fact that the ref came over to talk to Bethune after the hit. Like, what was Bethune supposed to do? Not hit him while he was good hit from Tatum Bethune. Another thing I didn't mention. I love the look. The new uniforms, man, look just back to looking like the classic look. So I really enjoyed the new uniforms in that game, man. It just took me back to watching the classic look that we're used to. These uniforms just look a lot better than the other one. So love the new unis. Grades, and then we're gonna get up out of here, man. Let's get the grades, and we're gonna get up out of here. Can't wait to see them icy whites. I'm with you. Offense. I believe the offense can actually play better than what it played. And you're talking about a team that threw for over 300, ran for what? Threw for over 300, ran for over 100. Talking about a team that had total, how many yards FSU have total? I don't know, but Jordan Travis threw. We threw for 359 total, ran for 135. So there you go. Do that math. Talking about a team that had 6 total touchdowns, and I'm only going to give them a B+ on offense. Yeah, that's right. I'm only going to give the offense a B+. You know why? Trey Benson could be a lot better. That running game could get they really had me pissed off. And even though it was only a 3-point game at half, I did not like the way the game was trending in the first half. Jordan Travis had like 19 to 20 attempts at halftime. I did not like that. Did not like that at all. And because of that, that first half, man, I was close. I see Raymond saying C plus A equals B. I don't disagree with that. I would argue, man, that first half had me thinking like a D. I was really upset, man, that we were throwing the ball as much as we were throwing it in that first half, even though Keon had the 2 touchdowns in the first half. I just didn't like the way they were calling the game. And then in the second half, we went to the bread and butter and we blew the game open. So for me, I said B+. Yeah, I'm going to stick with the B+, but a B+ or just a solid B, maybe. I probably, you know what? I'm going to agree with Raymond on this one. Just a solid B in that game. Hold on. Whew, felt that coming. Solid B on offense. Believe it or not. Solid B. For even though Keon had 122 and 3 touchdowns, and Jordan Travis had 342 in the air and 38 on the ground and 5 total touchdowns. Like most teams, that's an A+ offensive showing. If you watch Florida State for the past couple of years, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Appreciate you. Thank you. You know exactly what I'm talking about, man. We could have called a way better first half. Solid B on the offense. Didn't like the way the first half was trending. Come second half, we went back to what we are known for. Offense gets a solid B. I don't even want to see. To me, I don't say it's not that the offense wasn't. It's not that the running wasn't working. We didn't attempt in the first half. I think Trey Benson only had 3 rushing attempts in the first half. Rodney Hill had 0 rushing attempts in the first half, and Todd Philly had about 2 or 3 attempts. We didn't try to run the ball. To say it wasn't working, like we didn't try to run the ball. So, there's that. Oh God. I haven't seen Dennis in a year. I haven't seen Dennis all off season. I haven't seen Dennis all off season. They get a little baby win against Miami of Ohio. And now he want to throw rocks at the throne. Well, thank you, Dennis. I hope Miami is actually going to show up November 11th. You might want to prepare yourself, though, for Texas A&M. Prepare yourself for Texas A&M. But I appreciate you for showing up, Dennis. You've been gone for a while, so it's good to see you. Defense, man. As much heat as Adam Fuller gets, there's not much of it that's warranted. Like even in the first half, on a couple plays where I know Jaden Daniels had the one run, nice. I think LSU called a decent game, in my opinion, in that first half. In the first half, I thought he called a decent game. That first play from scrimmage, the design run up the middle, I thought was a good call. Again, Florida State's defense didn't do anything exotic in the second half. There wasn't a lot of adjustments to be made. They just settled in and played better and eliminated the penalties. I want to give the defense a solid A overall because I really think as a whole that defense played. They gave up 17 points all game, guys. Again, I'm not even counting the last touchdown because that was the last minute in garbage against Jaden Floyd and the boys. Shout out to Jaden Floyd and the boys. But then that's who was on the field at that point. We already know if they on the field what that means. Where I'm going to take a little bit of points away from the defense and go A-, B+ is the penalties. We got to clean up the penalties. There were some bogus there were some bogus penalties in the game. There were some bogus penalties. But at some point, and this is just a player recognizing, you have to be aware of how the refs are now calling the game. At some point, you have to say, well, the refs are being ticky-tacky. Let me adjust my game. And I think that is just self-awareness of the player. That's just self-awareness of the player. So I'm going to go a B+ for the penalties. Got to clean up the penalties. You clean up the penalties, that's an A+ performance. Because if you clean up those penalties, those drives don't even get extended. They might not have 17 points. But Briley hit on it. 7 trips to the red zone, and you gave up 3 points. And people are telling me Adam Fuller's not a defensive, can't coach defenses. I don't know, man. Why do we hate that guy so much? He just continues to coach top defenses in the country, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm gonna give it a B+. I'm gonna knock a little bit of points off for the penalties, man. I want to clean up the penalties. I know they was aggressive in that first half. Adrenaline was pumping and all that, but I want to clean up the penalties. B+. That gives us some room to grow, which I do think defensively we definitely got some room to grow. If I was just grading the D-line, it'd be an A++. But the penalties and some of the miscommunication in the linebackers and coverage and in the secondary, we got to clean that stuff up. B+ on the defensive end. And then I'm actually going to give special teams an A+ actually, because spoke on it. Fitz hit his lone field goal, and it was 6 for 6 on extra points. And Mastromano was really good when he had to punt the ball. Mastromano was really good when he had to punt the ball. I think he averaged 50 yards a punt. Hold on, let me go look at stat up one more time. Mastromano had 3 punts for 43 punts for 138 yards. That's 46 yards a punt, and 1 punt was inside the 20. I thought I'm gonna give special teams an A, man. A+. I thought special teams played very well. Anytime you actually make all your field goals and punt the ball very well, good job from the special teams. Hold on, Adrian. So we gave out our grades, gave out our helmet sticker. Kickoff coverage was good, good point. Man, special teams played very well. Very, very well. This Saturday, y'all know what time it is. We'll be doing Southern Miss instant reaction, halftime reaction. I'm going to try to get something out either, what's today, Tuesday? I don't know about Wednesday or Thursday. We're going to try to get something out here. Try to get some more collaborations going, man. Might get some guys on the channel or go to someone else's channel and talk some of this Florida State football coming up here. But that is our show for today, episode 89, Hangover. FSU owns week 1 of college football. That's not a debate. That's not a question. That's me telling you Florida State owned week 1 of college football. As always, it is your boy Polk over here on H63 Seminole TV. Got more stuff coming from you for the rest of the week. Got a game this weekend, Southern Miss. Stay classy, Seminoles. We are out here. Go Noles. I'll see you the rest of the week, y'all. And it's good to be back, by the way. So happy to be back out of the desert and in this glorious studio. Y'all have a great